Mr. Bilirakis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Like many of my colleagues, one of my greatest concerns with the transition is the susceptibility of ICANN to manipulate or be captured by foreign governments. You both assert in your written testimony that this is a concern you're working to safeguard. Mr. Strickling, what specific concerns remain after your latest meeting about encroachment from the intergovernmental body like the UN, and how would you evaluate the proposals being considered by ICANN? And then I have a couple more questions too.
So this is a very important issue, and it's one of our key criteria to ensure that as we step out of our stewardship role that we're not replaced by another government or group of governments. I have to tell you, there is nothing in the planning that we have seen so far that indicates this is a likely or even possible outcome. The current board structure does not allow governments to sit on the board. The Government Advisory Committee's role is limited to providing advice to the board. There haven't been any proposals to change that. Indeed, the proposals that are being discussed right now would actually make it clearer exactly under what conditions the governments can provide advice that the board would have to follow. So I think all signs are that the end of this process will yield a result that will satisfy that criteria, but I don't have the final plan yet. I don't have the final proposal, and we'll need to see that before we can render a comprehensive conclusion on that score.
Mr. Chade, what are your thoughts? I'm sorry if I mispronounced.
No,
I just came in. I was in another meeting. No. I apologize.
I think we probably both suffer from that, so it's okay. Let me be clear. Governments today have an advisory role at ICANN. No government can sit on our board of directors. They do not have a voting mechanism. We hope this will be maintained as we move forward. I must tell you also that the process that the U.S. government started here to make the transition move forward has become itself an attraction to many others, including governments who did not believe or understand how the multi-stakeholder model works. So I think we're seeing governments participate in the process in their advisory capacity, and continue to do so in more numbers than we did before. And we thank them for that, and we believe they should continue in their advisory role. So we're seeing, as Mr. Strickling said very clearly, we're seeing no signs at the moment of any government asking for new or different powers, and I hope we maintain that balance moving forward.
Thank you. Another question for you, sir. 2 months ago, we heard from Matthew Shears from the Center for Democracy and Technology, who mentioned a hybrid proposal of separating functions and oversight to ensure accountability. He concluded by saying this can work only if ICANN is held accountable to its own internal governance structures, and stressed the multi-stakeholder community needs to be more empowered than it is today for it all to work. Again, can you address his argument and speak on if the multi-stakeholder community is more empowered after the latest proposals and meetings? And I know you've touched on the recall procedures I've heard, and is it true? Anything else?
What's left is, for me right now, the only decisions I can make is to pick the coffee in my office. So if they take that away, they pretty much have every decision that happens at ICANN. And that's how it should be. That's how ICANN is designed. Can we strengthen that? Yes, and we should. How do we do that? By making sure that policy is always started in the community and actually goes through a community process before it gets to us. And that if the board, with its power, at any time does not follow community policy, or the board changes community policy, that the community has a recourse to be able to get the board to actually perform what they're supposed to do, which is the community policy. So I support strengthening that and doing everything possible we do, but I must assure you that today our community is firmly rooted in the decision-making of policies that affect the domain name system of the Internet. So are the communities that give us the other policies, such as the IETF for protocol parameters, and the regional Internet registries for numbers. They are the communities that are empowered to make the policies for their important identifiers. We simply are here to facilitate, coordinate, not decide or change community policies.
Thank you. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Gentleman yields back the